Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the largest gated community in North America, spanning 26,000 acres in the Ouachita Mountains in south central Arkansas. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and some occasional guests as we explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. McGraw Realtors, located in the heart of Hot Springs Village, is the fastest growing real estate office with over 30 agents and staff. Executive brokers Lori and Ken Henderson, along with realtor and waterfront specialist Rick Marshall, they're eager to share the special features of Hot Springs Village with you. For a complimentary relocation packet, call Ken and Lori at 501-276-3018 or call Rick Marshall at 501-601-RICK. They are McGraw Realtors of Hot Springs Village. Renaissance Homes builds spec homes ready for sale and custom homes. Brandon Tedder and his team make the process easy. Renaissance Homes incorporates solid construction methods from the ground up. Brandon is a certified green builder. With a fixed price approach, detailed spec sheet, you'll know upfront how much it will cost. Every job has a dedicated project manager and an in-house design expert. From permitting to landscaping, Renaissance Homes is the preferred builder headquartered right here inside Hot Springs Village.
Happy October 2025. Welcome to the back porch. I got in late last night, well, actually early this morning. I coach city government leaders, and I was doing a retreat for a city over in Texas, and decided to just drive through the night and go ahead and get home. But while I was there, and this is happening more frequently, and I think it's because for the first time, I believe in history, if I'm not mistaken, we have 5 generations of people in the workforce. 5 generations of people, which means that you've got people that are my age and even older. I'm thinking of a city, and the police chief is in his 70s. And so you've got those of us that are long in the tooth, as they say. And then you've got these young people coming out of college. And so when I was coming of age, you probably had 3 generations of people in the workforce. And now there's 5 generations of people, and so that gap between our experiences as kids and coming of age, very different, very different. And I'm in a room, and there's a handful of us that were boomers that were in this room. This was all an executive team of a city in Texas, and some nearing retirement. And 2 or 3 people in the room, retirement is just within reach. And one gentleman already submitting his retirement, which is going to come up within the next 6 months or so. And so in between the breaks, there was some conversation about this. There was conversation about retirement and getting to the end of the career and all of that. So that really is the topic today, and that's how this pertains to Hot Springs Village and the various goals and objectives that we set for ourselves as we get older in life, and the things that we really would like to do. And it changes. And rare is the person that I have talked to that have not changed their mind perhaps multiple times before they ever make the decision, and then people make the decision and then change their mind. I continue to encourage people, and admittedly this is based just largely on the way that I roll, and I'm certainly not advocating or preaching or proselytizing. I'm not trying to convert anybody to kind of my way of thinking. But I do continue to encourage and say, I want you to get this right. And it's a real practical piece of advice. When I was in my 20s and I took a job, if I wanted to take a job, if I wanted to take a chance, I could take the job, and okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and I'll move on, and I'll find something else, I'll figure something else out. Because at 20, statistically, you got a pretty good runway. right? I mean, if it's a mistake, how big of a mistake is it going to be? And even if it is a mistake, you can rebound, you can recover. When you get to be this age, when you get to be my age, I'm 68, and I'm thinking about this police chief who's 6 to 8 years older than I am. You just can't afford to get it wrong. You can get it a little bit wrong, but especially when it comes to two things, and I'm going to put them in this order on purpose: time and money. We just really can't afford to get either one of those wrong. We want to minimize that risk. The number of people in the last 6 months that I've talked to who are planning to retire and already regretting that they haven't done it sooner, because one of the compelling reasons for them to step away and to retire is health. Physical health and mental health. And I'm not talking people that are soft, so those of you that want to be judgmental about mental health, just tap the brakes, because mental health is a real thing. It's always been a real thing. I'm thankful that we are living in an age where it does get some attention. No, I don't think everything is a mental health crisis. I was introduced to a phrase a couple of years ago. It tickled me at first, and the more I thought about it, the more irked I got about it. Somebody talked about their team being trauma bonded. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Trauma bonded. They had gone through some departmental snafus, and that trauma that they went through as a team, it had bonded them. They were trauma bonded. And I thought, well, that's an interesting idea and notion. Listen, I'm not a psychologist. I don't pretend to be. Okay, yeah, maybe I sometimes pretend to be, but is that a real thing? Sure, I guess. I mean, it can be. But all of us have experienced some trauma. All of us have experienced pain and sorrow and struggle, and welcome to the human race. This is largely what life is about, because in those struggles we're learning, in those struggles we're growing. But my point is, a person gets to their late 50s, they get to their early 60s, and maybe they're not at that magical 65 retirement age, and all of a sudden they've got, like, maybe it's not a health crisis, but they feel like they're headed that way. If they don't do something now, they're pretty convinced, okay, whatever trauma might come into their life, it very well could happen. And now there's the realization, I need to make the most of this. I need to. It's not setting your affairs in order like you think a person who's been diagnosed with a terminal disease would, but there's probably some value in approaching life, especially the latter years of our life, or the mature years of our life, if you please, to probably look at that with getting not only our affairs in order, getting our relationships in order. Lots of conversation about that. Lots of conversation about the people that are closest to us, the people that we love the most, and doing as good as we can do, doing better at those relationships. Lots of conversation about focusing on feeling better, getting our health on track, physical and or mental. And most of the time it's both, to tell you the truth. And then there's that E word, enjoyment. Enjoyment. You know, I'm just ready to get to a place in my life. I hear it over and over and over again. I'm just ready to enjoy life a little bit. Now that kind of makes you think, well, okay, so you're not enjoying life at all right now. That rarely is the case. Because when I will sit down with people and we start talking about their life and how they're feeling, they will enumerate and they'll list all kinds of things that, yeah, I mean, this is stressful and it's high pressure and the pace is daunting and I'm overwhelmed, but I like this and I like this and I like this and I like this. And there are so many of us, my hands in the air, there are so many of us that are stress junkies, but there's a price to be paid for all that. So I come out here on the back porch. I got in at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I drove all night. I hit 2 road closures on Interstate 30, all in one night. I mean, go figure. It'd be my luck. They're about 20 miles apart, so I'm detouring and a drive that should have taken me, I don't know, pick a number. A drive that should have taken me 8 or 9 hours ended up taking me an hour and a half longer than that. So at any rate, I got home at 2 o'clock, crashed and burned for a few hours. I got up this morning and got on some more coaching calls. As much as I love it, and I do, yep, there's some things about it that I know take a toll. It just does. It just does. Have I told you the story of the parable of the starfish or the starfish thrower? Lauren Isley was a gentleman that wrote this some years ago. When I came across it, I thought, man, I can relate to that. Here's how the parable goes. A little boy is out on the beach. There's hundreds, thousands of starfish that have washed ashore, and the sun's coming out, and the day is heating up, and he's throwing these starfish back into the ocean. And an old man comes upon him and says, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, I'm saving these starfish, sir." He said, "Kid, look, there are hundreds or thousands of starfish on this beach. You can't possibly make a difference." The boy picks one up, throws it in the ocean, and he says, "Well, it made a difference to that one." And it just clicked with me immediately because that's how I feel. I will just tell you that's who I am. Not this raging extrovert, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm a guy just trying to make a difference to one person at a time, and I like it, and it feels good. I'm sorry that there may be other starfish out there that nobody can get to, but I just want to make a difference to this one. And I feel that way more and more and more, and I'm sure it's because I'm getting older. I feel that way more and more and more about this subject of retiring, this subject of stepping away from one thing so that we can step towards something else, stepping out of one role so that we can step into perhaps an existing role and just do it better. Think husband, father, grandfather. Or sometimes to just step into a completely new role because we leave a work role and now we're going to do something different. You'd think that as older people we'd have it all figured out. And I told this group that I was talking to yesterday, I said, let me tell you what age has taught me. Age has taught me that there's a whole lot I don't know. There's a whole lot that I thought I knew, but I don't know. And now I'm really convinced I don't know. I mean, I'm dead solid certain of some things that I don't know now, that in a youthful cockiness you think, yeah, I got this figured out. And life just doesn't always work out the way that you plan. I'm thinking of so many people who retired and they had hopes and they had dreams and they had aspirations and things happened. And I know it's a sad topic, but I want it to serve a purpose to inspire us, to give us some greater oomph and motive. Let's get on with this. We're burning daylight, kids. We are burning daylight when it comes to getting on with living whatever life you've architected or whatever life you want to architect. I was hours and hours and hours away from Hot Springs Village. Hot Springs Village isn't on the radar of anybody that I talked to yesterday. They are many, 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 many miles away in Texas. Like I said, I drove, 10 and a half hours. It's a good haul. It's a good haul away. But that doesn't mean they can't get it right. It doesn't mean that you can't get it right. And if Hot Springs Village, if mountainous big trees kind of speaks to you as it speaks to me, yeah, there's something to it. Trust me, there is something to being on a back porch. There is something to listening to these birds and looking at this wildlife and looking at this nature and being in a place that's like this. There's just something to it. There's absolutely something to it. And the something to it is really, really positive. That's why I constantly encourage you. Yeah, I'm an ambassador for Hot Springs Village. There is no question, unabashedly so. You need to come and visit. You need to get on Airbnb. You need to go back and look at the Reunion Resort villas that Brandon Tedder has built. And kids, I got to tell you, that's the way to roll right there. I mean, if it's you and your husband, you and your wife, come and get the 1-bedroom suite. You can incorporate part of the Discovery package with that. You can play golf, including at Diamante. And you can let somebody at McGraw Realtors, shout out to Lori and Ken Henderson, shout out to Rick Marshall, sponsors of the show, and they will happily show you the village. And you spend 2 or 3 days, and not only will you have a big time, but you'll get a really good sense of this place in a real short period of time. And that's part of this show's objective, is to help you compress that. Because, yeah, I mean, you could take 6 months, you could take a year, you can research, you can do all that, and if that's what you want to do, you should do it. But you can also really shorten the learning curve here if you choose to. And because we're burning daylight, I'm going to encourage you and I'm going to cheerlead you. Shorten that learning curve. Get this figured out. If not Hot Springs Village, then somewhere that suits you, somewhere that gives you some enjoyment, somewhere that gives you some peace, and yeah, somewhere that suits your cost of living and suits all those financial hurdles that you've got to jump through, and we all do. We've all got them. Well, okay, maybe we don't all have them, but all we mere mortal people have them. We've got budget constraints. We got things that matter to us financially, and you got to take that into consideration. And it's why we talk about all of that here. We talk about the weather, we talk about the climate, we talk about the nature, we talk about the cost of living, we talk about real estate. We various at times talk about the various clubs and activities that go on here. We talk about how hard it is to leave the old neighborhood where you've had friends probably forever and your kids went to school, and you leave a place like that. Or the question is, do you? Maybe you don't. This is for you to figure out. And it's a private, individual journey that everybody has to make. The good thing is, hopefully, we've never been better. We've never been this experienced. We've never known this much before. And hopefully, we've never had this level of wisdom. So bring it on. It's a great challenge. I hope you figure it out. We're here to help. HotSpringsVillageInsideOut.com, that's the website. My name's Randy, not that that matters. But I like it out here, kids. I like it a lot. Okay, here's my last call to action. I've been thinking about this for months and months and months, and I'm going to tell you what prompted it. I'm out taking a walk in the neighborhood, kind of, sort of, and I see this newer house, and this beggar's got like wrap-around porch that's awesome. Awesome. I absolutely adore and love wrap-around porches. I don't live in a house that has a wraparound porch. I've never lived in a house that had a wraparound porch. I've always been in love with a wraparound porch. I mean, there's a few things that I'm totally smitten with. I'm smitten with wraparound porch. I love craftsman style houses. If I had my choice, I would have a craftsman style house with a wraparound porch, and it would be located in piney woods. That's my ideal. I don't have it. I'm awful close though. I got a back porch. I got big trees. I'm good. I'm thankful. But as I see this wraparound porch, I think I'd kind of like to do some videos of some of the great porches that exist here inside Hot Springs Village. Because I've seen some houses and they got some killer porches. And I'm not talking just fancy. I don't mean, they don't just have to have a fireplace and a big TV and, an outdoor kitchen. Now that's great and wonderful, and I'd love to see more of those. But just great porches, I love great porches. I'd like to do some shows from, I don't know, have you got a great porch? Hit me up. I'd like to come and see it. I'd like to do a show from there. hello@hsvinsideout.com. That's the website. hello@hsvinsideout.com. Send me an email. There's other contact information that you can find over at the website, hsvinsideout.com. And hit me up. I'd like to showcase some of the really great porches right here inside Hot Springs Village. See ya.
Thanks for watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out. You'll find all our episodes at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com or on YouTube.